Hello, everyone. This is Senior Biotech Analyst John Vandermosten. Welcome to our channel that educates the life sciences investor on exciting advancements in drugs, biologics, and devices. For more content and news like this, subscribe to our channel below and like or share with others. Chris, welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about what Lexaria is working on with respect to GLP-1 agonists.
John, thank you so much for having us. This is indeed a very exciting area. As you mentioned, it's really attracted a lot of interest both in the market community as well as in the pharmaceutical community. There's been some dramatic improvements in patient outcomes through the use of these drugs. But the problem, as you mentioned, is that with one exception, Rybelsus, all the rest have to be injected. Nobody really enjoys doing that. There's also a growing concern about side effects. So our technology at Lexaria is called DehydraTECH, and it's well known, I think, for improving oral delivery of drugs. What we are working on and what we've already evidenced in one small human pilot study is that, at least so far, it appears that we can deliver these drugs more effectively through orals, through a method of swallowing the drug in a capsule as opposed to injecting it. And if we can evidence that through a number of studies this year, we will be able to give patients perhaps a much preferable choice in how they administer these drugs going forward.
So we had, Lexaria just completed a human pilot study here, and I was impressed by the data. I think you showed two different things. One was the blood concentration, and then also was control of diabetes. Why don't you summarize for us what we saw in each one of those charts which you included in your press releases about that? And then I had another question after you finish about one of the surprising things that I noticed between the Rybelsus arm and then also the DehydraTECH GLP-1 agonist arm.
For sure. So, the core of our technology is something very, very simple. We tend to make drugs absorb at a higher level, more efficiently. Semaglutide, which is the drug in Rybelsus, for example, without any technology, the research literature says that it absorbs at less than a 1% rate.
Mm-hmm.
In other
Yeah.
words, over 99% of what you swallow never reaches your bloodstream. Our technology is designed to improve that. And what we showed in this human pilot study was that compared to regular Rybelsus, when that Rybelsus has been processed with our technology, we were able to achieve blood saturation levels roughly 45% higher than without our technology. Now, what that might lead to is some combination of better weight loss, perhaps a lower oral dose, since less is needed to achieve a particular level in blood, and perhaps reduced side effects. The other thing that our study was really surprisingly effective at, surprised me at least, was that after a single dose of either Rybelsus or DehydraTECH processed Rybelsus, we were able to show a truly dramatic reduction in blood sugar spike after eating a meal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The people who had taken the Rybelsus alone had a very large blood sugar spike, and that spike was notably absent when the Rybelsus had been controlled with DehydraTECH. So two big achievements: better blood sugar control and better blood plasma concentrations.
Now that spike that we saw, that was actually after several hours after administration, wasn't it? And the
That is
Rybelsus
correct.
arm,
And
yeah.
yes, and within 30 minutes or so of administering a standardized meal.
Okay. Now the success of this pilot study has led Lexaria to plan a number of other studies going forward for the rest of this year. And I think there are a few animal studies and there are some human studies that are planned. Chris, let us know what you're going to do there and what's the next step for GLP-1 agonists and DehydraTECH.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we know we need to do is elaborate. We need to provide a lot more data to answer any number of scientific and real world questions. So, in order to do that, we have a litany of additional GLP-1 programs planned for 2024. The first two of those will be another human pilot study, similar in some ways to the one we already conducted. So, in part, we want to validate those results. But we're going to also add an additional study arm in which we're going to administer an oral dissolvable dose. Now, so far as we're aware, nowhere in the world today is it possible to take a GLP-1 drug in an oral dissolvable, something that literally dissolves in your mouth and does not require you to swallow it. We're going to be testing that with the DehydraTECH technology. And I probably don't have to tell you, John, that if we succeed with that, that would be a dramatic achievement for us.
Yeah,
Also
definitely a big
starting
deal.
very, very soon will be a chronic animal study. So this will be the first time that we have tested the DehydraTECH technology over a number of weeks with GLP-1 drugs. What we want to achieve in that study, well, there's many things. We don't have enough time to go through them all. But one of them will be to observe whether or not we can affect weight reduction in the lab animals over a period of multiple weeks. We're also going to be testing other drugs, John. So far, we've only worked with semaglutide, which is the drug behind Rybelsus and Ozempic. But we're also going to be working this year with drugs like tirzepatide and liraglutide. So this animal study will be very, very comprehensive. It'll be testing a number of different things. And then also in Q2 and Q3 of this year, we're going to be starting yet a third human pilot study where we are testing tirzepatide, for example, in humans. And we're going to be launching a large multi-week human study. This is the one that everybody is really going to be paying attention to because we plan to test the DehydraTECH semaglutide in humans over a multiple week time period. Obviously, that has the potential to show weight loss over a period of 8 to 12 weeks, something that we obviously cannot achieve in a single day's dosing. So lots and lots of work this year. There should be a regular progression of developments and news flow from that. The second and third quarters in particular are going to be exceptionally busy, probably with some data still coming in the fourth quarter this year.
Okay, well, we're really looking forward to that. And you mentioned expanding out for semaglutide to some of the other biologics out there, and we've done some research looking at the size of the biologics market, which is absolutely immense. It's from 300 to 400 billion dollars in size, and almost all of these biologics are injected, right? And so I guess my next question to you is, we start with the GLP-1 agonists, but how far can it go? I mean, can we expand out into other biologics that are injected and convert them into an oral or a buccal, I think, as you said, a formulation?
Yeah, the GLP-1 opportunity, quite frankly, is breathtaking. In my opinion, I think it will be the biggest area of pharmaceutical research and deployment probably for the next decade. I think the improvements to human health through diabetes control and weight loss or weight management is almost incalculable. And so we're delighted to be able to show some efficacy already in that field. And that, of course, is why we are working at such a feverish pace to expand on our knowledge there. With regards to whether or not the DehydraTECH will work with other biologics, the short answer is we simply don't know. Over the years, we have successfully tested our technology with antiviral drugs, with
Hmm.
cannabinoids like CBD, with human hormones like estrogen, with phosphodiesterase inhibitors like Viagra. All of those drugs, however, are so-called small molecules. So we've had a litany of success with small molecules. The GLP-1 drug class is the first time we expanded into so-called large molecules or biologics. We will probably be looking at additional biologics before the end of the year. I don't have any hard plans on that as of today.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the fastest areas of growing in the biopharmaceutical space, and I'll just throw out one statistic there. I think Goldman Sachs estimated that the GLP-1 agonist can reach 100 billion in sales in the next, I think, 10 years or so. So even if you're just doing that class, and having even a small proportion of that is pretty significant for Lexaria. And I guess, I'll just finish off this section just asking, if we do see continued success with the GLP-1 agonist studies that you're doing this year, should we expect to see some of the big biotech, big pharmas, knock on your door?
Well, I certainly hope so. Lexaria is based on partnering. So if you're not aware of us, our business plan embraces partnering with global pharmaceutical companies. We do not intend to go forward with our own multi-year and multi-$100 million development program for these drugs. Instead, we want to evidence efficacy, which we've already started doing, and we want to build the data books to a sufficient degree so that Big Pharma is in fact interested in us. I can't mention names, but I can say that we know that Big Pharma is interested because, as a matter of fact, the very same day that we issued our first time ever press release on news of our recent human pilot study results, we were contacted by one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world asking for more information. So yes, I do think that is something we can certainly hope for. That is, in fact, the goal of all of this 2024 applied research and development into GLP-1 with DehydraTECH. The goal is to produce enough positive data to be able to partner with one of those firms, we hope, before the end of the year.
Great. Well, that's great, Chris. And, I just wanted to say that there are no other oral formulations besides Rybelsus approved to deliver biologics. So, this is a big, big deal, and it explains the interest of, Big Pharma in your technology. So again, Chris, thank you for joining us on Unboxing Biotech.
Thank you.